Are my judges ready?
Yeah.
Martin Parr, a British documentary photographer, once said, "Photography is the simplest thing in the world, yet incredibly complicated to make it really work." Hello, my name is Samantha Huddleston. I researched whether photography is an art or not, and my product was to take photos and put them in an album. Photography started whenever people started looking for a way to speed things up, because at the time, the only way to document things was with art, which would take hours and multiple tries by one artist to document. In 1727, people found out that if you put paper into silver nitrate and then expose it to light, the paper would darken. The person who found this out was actually Johann Hendrik. In the 1800s, two people, Thomas Wedgwood and Sir Humphrey, took this idea and started adding shapes to the paper, which would leave white spots and black spots on the same paper, leaving a picture behind. This was called a photogram because it was not taken by a camera, which would be a photograph. The problem with the photogram, though, was that eventually, after you removed the shapes that were making the picture, the entire paper would darken. The problem with photography, whenever it became available to the public, was that at first it was used only to document wrongdoings of people. It became the indisputable truth, and they started using it against people with juries and while they were on trial. It became accepted whenever people started using it to document more things than just wrongdoings, such as families and just happy things around the world. A person who was named Maxime Du Camp from Egypt actually took pictures of the pyramids and the Nile and all of her little places around there, showing Egyptian culture to the world. In photography, there are 4 genres. There are creative, editorial, retail, and personal. Creative is whenever a scene is completely set. It would be such, in my paper, I believe I used a description of it as a room that looked like it had been completely flooded and there was water in it with things floating around. This is probably not really what happened, but they made it look like this. So it's often also called the fantasy genre. Editorial are your newsletters and your newspapers, where all your photojournalists would work at. The retail is your ads, like the billboards on the side of the road, your magazines, any of the pictures you see online. And then personal would be your mom taking a picture of you for your birthday or your senior pictures or your graduation pictures. In photography, there are 3 main jobs: event, documentative, and journalist. Event would be the people who go to your wedding and take pictures for you. And then the documentative would be, they go to architectural dig sites, and they're often seen working with National Geographic and the History Channel. That's more where you see their photos taken at. And then the journalists are your people who go to the newspapers and the newsletters. My product was to take pictures of nature and portrait and put them in a scrapbook for people to see. The pictures I took, there was quite a few of them, but the ones I have here, there's about 30-ish of them. Although I had quite a few more, but these were the only ones that were actually able to be used because they were not blurry and they captured what I was trying to capture in them. I also took Megan Murphy's senior pictures as part of my project, which was my first time actually taking pictures of people outside of my family. My process was I had to take the photos first, which took about 10 or 20 hours-ish. And then I had to pick out the photos. Picking the ones that wouldn't go in the scrapbook were a lot easier than the ones that would go in the scrapbook. And that took about another 2 hours. And then the editing of the photos actually took about 15-ish hours. I actually spent 9 hours one day just working on a group of photos that I needed. My problems with my product was that I have a lot of anxiety, and to contact people to see if I could actually take pictures of them or their pets or their kids sometimes was kind of hard for me. So I found a solution with it by texting them first and talking through them that way, because that really helped with my anxiety. But then whenever I met up with them, I was kind of a nervous wreck. But it worked out in the end. And another problem would have been my procrastination. I am the best procrastinator in the world. But it all worked out. I met my deadline. I got all the pictures I needed, which was good for me. Martin Parr was right when he said that photography is simple yet really complicated to make it really work. It takes skills and time out of a person's life. And art is something that not only calls to the physical being of a person, but it brings thoughts, emotions, and memories back to a person. So the next time you look through a mechanical eye of a camera, see the beauty of the world and try to capture it to share around with everyone else. Thank you. Do my judges have any questions?
Did you use a particular software to do your editing?
I originally was going to use a free software. I don't remember what it was called, but that didn't work out because our computer actually ended up crashing at home, so I couldn't use it. So instead I found something on my tablet. It was completely free. I think it's called Photo Editor 2017. It's just one of the generic ones, and that's what I used to edit them.
What kind of camera did you use?
I use a combination of my tablet's camera and a Kodak EasyShare.
I noticed you had some pictures of animals.
Yes.
Did you find those kind of difficult to work with?
Really, the pictures of the animals were just by chance. Like, I have one picture in here where my dog had laid down beside me and she looked up at me and I just got that picture. This picture of my grandma's dog, Foxy, she actually stood in front of my brother, and that's how I got her picture. She just kind of sat there staring up at him. Yes.
Is this something you think you're going to pursue after?
Most definitely. I've always wanted to be a photographer since I was in freshman year.
What's your favorite thing to take? Like animals, people?
It would probably be nature because that's easiest for me. But I did like the challenge that I got whenever I presented the idea to people of letting me take their pictures and them actually allowing me to. That was really fun to do.
You had mentioned that one of your biggest struggles was kind of overcoming your anxiety to ask someone, like, can I come take your pictures? Was it easier for you with a camera in your hand with something to do?
Yes,
To
most
kind of
definitely.
work this? Okay.
Any other questions?